Picture this. The reigning NBA Finals MVP enters the playoffs limping, with an unstable knee and a cloud of uncertainty hovering above. As the Boston Celtics begin their journey toward the coveted back-to-back championship, an uncomfortable truth is quietly gaining traction behind the scenes. Jaylen Brown might be hiding the severity of what could turn into a ticking time bomb. And who shed light on it? None other than Kristaps Porzingis, the unintentional expert on dealing with a body that breaks down at the worst possible moments. Yes, we talked. With my experience in knee problems, I shared a few things that could help him. Porzingis said with the blunt honesty of someone who's seen entire seasons jeopardized by his own physique. But what if that conversation hints at something bigger? What if Porzingis, with his long list of injuries and rehabs, saw something no one else dared to admit? Brown has been battling this knee issue for months, and according to sources close to the situation, off-season surgery is very much on the table. But until then, he's going to keep playing through pain, putting his body on the line on every possession. It's the kind of storyline that sells heroic headlines, but behind it lies a dangerous, maybe even reckless, decision. Why? Is a franchise like the Celtics, known for its emphasis on planning and data science, allowing its most explosive player to play without visible limitations, despite an ongoing chronic injury? The answer might not sit well. The pressure to maintain last season's dominance could be putting player safety on the back burner. Brown doesn't want to look weak. The franchise doesn't want to look vulnerable. And in this silent tug-of-war, number 7's body is being pushed to the limit. We need him as healthy as possible, Porzingis added, a seemingly simple phrase, but one that carries the weight of a haunting question. Is Jaylen truly ready for this physical war? Or is he about to become another star, broken by overuse and corporate silence? And here's another twist. Could the Celtics be entering the playoffs, believing they can rest Brown against the Orlando Magic? That confidence, though based on the roster's superior talent, might morph into arrogance. The Magic are young, physical, and playing with nothing to lose. Underestimating a fearless opponent with no pressure could be the first fatal mistake of a team too high on its own championship status. But perhaps the most uncomfortable layer of this whole drama is this. Porzingis, long mocked for his physical fragility, now finds himself in the unexpected role of mentor, trying to stop another elite talent from walking the same painful path he knows all too well. Ironic, isn't it? Jaylen Brown is one of the most underrated stars among the NBA's elite. It took a championship and a Finals MVP trophy for many to finally acknowledge his greatness. Now, on the verge of another playoff run that could seal his place among the franchise legends, he carries the weight of a body that is far from 100%. And the question that remains is brutal. Will greatness be enough to outrun the limits of the human body? Or are we about to witness a tragedy masked as bravery? The regular season is over. The countdown is done. The Boston Celtics are about to take the court to defend their title, carrying the weight of trying to repeat a feat that only the greatest teams in history have ever accomplished. But at the heart of this mission lies a pulsating, almost uncomfortable question. Is Kristaps Porzingis truly healthy, or just healthy enough to keep the narrative alive? I'm feeling good, taking care of my body, feeling healthy, Porzingis told the media. With that rehearsed tone players use when they know the question is a trap. But that answer doesn't convince anyone who's followed the Latvian's career for years. If there's one name in the NBA that has become synonymous with unrealized potential due to injuries, it's his. And now, with the spotlight back on, another shot at redemption. The Celtics seem to be ignoring the elephant in the room. Fans might pretend to believe it, but deep down, they know one awkward landing, one bad pivot, one hard fall could mean the end of the line and the start of a complete collapse of the season. Porzingis may be the hardest player to replace on this roster. His combination of height, wingspan, mobility, and shooting touch is a statistical anomaly. He stretches defenses, protects the rim, and completely shifts the Celtics' tactical identity on both ends of the court. But precisely because he's so physically unique, his body has always been on the edge of breaking down. And the franchise knows it. That's exactly what creates this silent tension behind the scenes. The Celtics desperately need Porzingis, but also know that trusting him is a dangerous bet. Last year, he played only 7 playoff games, but that was enough to show his impact. Even so, he spent most of the campaign watching in a suit. This year, on paper, he arrives fully healthy. But does the coaching staff trust him enough to give him 35 minutes per night? Or will they try to hide him within the rotation for as long as they can? That doubt exposes a cruel dilemma. Either Porzingis plays heavy minutes and takes the risk, or the team becomes hostage to a front-court rotation that leans on veterans like Al Horford, now 38, or role players like Luke Cornett and Neemias Queta, who have yet to prove anything under real playoff pressure. Let's be honest, expecting Neemias or Cornett to anchor the paint in a Game 6 of the conference semifinals is more wishful thinking than real strategy. Horford can still deliver flashes of brilliance, but he's no longer the same. And if Joe Mazzulla has to overextend him due to a Porzingis absence, the team loses offensive spacing, defensive size, and most importantly, identity. Porzingis played only 42 games this season. That was no accident. The Celtics were carefully preserving their most fragile and most valuable asset. But now, there's nowhere left to hide. Every minute he spends on the floor will be a survival test. And that leads us to another thorny question. How far is this coaching staff willing to push Porzingis' body in exchange for another banner hanging in the rafters of TD Garden? It's hard to imagine how a player who leads the reigning NBA champions in points, rebounds, assists, and steals is still treated as a supporting character by the media and even part of the fanbase. More than just disrespect, it borders on absurdity. And finally, someone from within the basketball world decided to say out loud what many had already been thinking. Quentin Richardson exposed the hypocrisy surrounding the narrative about Tatum, and he did it with no sugarcoating during his jacked appearance on the Pat McAfee Show. The former NBA guard didn't hold back. They are disrespecting Jayson Tatum, yes, and some people are pretending they don't see it. But why do people still insist on treating Tatum like a second-tier star? Like someone who still needs to take the next step in order to be taken seriously? That uncomfortable question shines a light on a silent bias in today's sports coverage. Even though he's the engine of a team that steamrolled the entire league, even though he's a champion, even though he's the emotional and technical leader of a historic roster, Tatum still gets left out of top 5 players in the NBA discussions. Meanwhile, names like Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and even Anthony Edwards, players with no rings, are placed on pedestals as if Tatum were just a side piece in the Celtics' success. Still, the media keeps leaning into narratives that are more convenient or marketable. Many analysts are picking Oklahoma City, Cleveland, or even the Lakers with Doncic, as if Boston's championship run was a fluke, as if it wasn't a beatdown, as if it wasn't a dominant march to the top. And here comes the sharpest provocation. Is the problem really Tatum? Or is it the fact that he plays for the Boston Celtics? Some argue that the Celtics, being a historic, wealthy, well-structured, and competently run franchise, have become an easy target for resentment. That Tatum's success bothers people because it doesn't come with drama. He didn't jump ship. He didn't throw tantrums. He didn't recruit stars via Twitter. He grew within the franchise, polished his game year after year, and became an NBA Finals MVP, no backstage spectacle. And for many, that doesn't sell. Is Jayson Tatum not charismatic enough? Doesn't post TikTok dances? Doesn't feud with journalists on Instagram? Or is he simply a victim of a sports media generation that has turned analysis into algorithm-driven entertainment? Quentin Richardson wasn't just speaking for himself. He voiced what Celtics fans have been screaming for years. The treatment of Tatum is a distortion of reality, a nearly institutionalized disregard for quiet greatness. And the most ironic part, if Tatum wins another title this year, and there's a good chance he will they finally admit they were wrong? Or will they say the team won because of the roster, that Tatum played well but wasn't spectacular, How long will they keep denying the obvious? The world is waiting for Luka or Jokic to win another ring before crowning them the greatest of their generation. Tatum already has his, and he's on the path to a second. The Celtics are entering these playoffs hungry to repeat, but Tatum is entering hungry for justice. And maybe that's the spark that was missing, because when a player feels ignored, he stops playing just for a title. He starts playing to define an era, to destroy narratives, to silence critics. And then, the inevitable happens. Jayson Tatum is going to erupt in these playoffs. And if you don't want to see it, close your eyes.